Sure.
People don't understand that. Wait, unasikia mtoto akiongea?
Yeah, who's baby? Right in the maybe he doesn't like the comparison trap. He's upset.
I know.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode, Conversations with Hannah and Amanda. And today's topic is about the comparison trap. And I think everyone goes through this. So it's mostly in relation to growing up in the social media generation and just coping and how to cope and what to do and stuff like that. So welcome back. Amanda is here, as you can see. And I don't know, I think I should start because I came up with this topic. And just to give the conversation a little direction, I feel as if social media is a kind of comparison tool on hyperdrive. Like before, when we were younger and we didn't have the internet, gosh, I make us sound like shoo-shoos. Anyway, when you were younger, back in the day,
back in
the day, before the internet was a real thing, before even phones were a real thing, I don't feel like maybe there was comparison. I don't know. I feel like we're too young to know or to care. I'm not quite sure. But I feel like you didn't have that awareness of all the things you could compare yourself to.
Yeah.
I remember because I realized much later in life when I was having a conversation with another friend of mine, and she was explaining to me that she's always compared herself to like other women, other friends, and I'm like, huh? What? Why? Like comparison is an act. Like you, what? I did not understand at all, and I found that so bizarre. So then much later, when I realized she probably got on social media much younger than I did. The irony is I love IT, but I'm not on social media platforms a lot. So then I don't know. I had this, I don't like the concept of anything that's that has the potential to be addictive. So I tend to sort of gauge how much time I should spend on a thing and then just spend that time. But just to go back to the original topic, we didn't have that, you didn't have a platform where you could go and see all your other friends or like family members or relatives or whoever is in your circle and then see all their achievements, because we know social media is all about achievements. It's not a realistic view of life. It's all about the highlights and the good things in people's lives, which should be celebrated. But it's not real. It's not always sunshine and butterflies and roses and rainbows, But I don't feel like your brain can distinguish between the highlight reel and real life. So I think that's where lots of problems are coming in. And I feel like that's also affecting the current state of like the spikes in mental health illnesses and depression, suicide in this generation. Yeah, so that was quite a long introduction. Don't let me ramble. I can ramble forever.
Tumeelewa vizuri zaidi.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And I think to add on the part you say that it's a highlight reel.
For sure.
People don't understand that. Wait, unasikia mtoto akiongea?
Yeah, who's baby? Right in the maybe he doesn't like the comparison trap. He's upset.
I know.
He's like, what is this?
You are neighbor.
Oh, I hope it's okay. I hope at Nini maybe ameanguka or something.
Maybe. Tuendelee ama tuache amalize?
Let's continue. I think kids can cry for hours. Just depends on the mood. Depends on their mood and their current state, their emotions. Can cry for hours. It's honestly, it's like a skill.
For sure. For 100%.
Yeah, the lungs on those people. Anyway.
So,
Mhm.
I just wanted to add on, it's a highlight reel, and people need to understand that it's a highlight. It's just people don't have the full story of
For
what
sure.
is happening
Mhm.
behind the scenes. For example, if you see um, someone who's bought a car, for example,
Mhm.
you don't know what they went through, you don't know the hard work they put in, or where it came from. So okay, compare it, it's almost like a waste of energy, to be
Mhm.
honest.
Mhm.
Because people out here, I feel like if you are to compare, it should be something to do with, I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
They have worked hard.
Mhm.
So I also need to work as hard to get,
Okay, I
if
get you.
it's a house, if it's a car, if it's whatever.
Mhm.
But when it starts to be feelings of envy and jealousy and things
Mhm.
like those,
Mhm.
then you really need to check yourself. Kwa sababu, this
I
child,
know this child is like
haya,
determination is the key to success. We must
ako like,
interrupt. We must interrupt.
woo, ni sawa tu.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, so if you start feeling jealous or envious or things like those, you need to check yourself, because that's where it starts getting toxic. You know, that's where it starts getting, you need to ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? You know,
Mhm.
why am I jealous of whatever this other person has? And you need to work on yourself from there onwards, moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I feel like how the mind operates is there is that natural element of comparison because it's how you naturally gauge yourself like in terms of
Mm-hmm.
your own personal progress in a certain area. So I feel like naturally you can't completely eliminate that element of comparison, but like you said, you mentally not prepare rather you can train yourself to use it to draw inspiration from the people
Yeah.
lives you find charmed in a way. But there's no such thing as a charmed life. It simply doesn't exist from the poorest of the poor to the richest of the rich. No one has a perfect life. And it's easy to get stuck in that comparison trap, hence the name, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, envy is an emotion like any other emotion. It simply communicates a certain state, usually dissatisfaction. Like maybe there's an in that area of your life you feel dissatisfied. But I'm just gonna throw it out there that a lot of it is also, I feel, manufactured by industries in the sense that they come up with products or cars or houses or dream locations or anything. And then they market it so aggressively that they somehow convince us that we need this thing that we didn't need 10 minutes ago. Okay. So then probably they get some influencers or prominent personalities, like sports athletes and the like, to then market this thing that you didn't need 10 minutes ago until you see it with so and so. And then it just cultivates this dissatisfaction in your life that didn't exist before you saw the thing. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of marketing that goes on in social media, which I don't blame industries for doing that. We live in a capitalist society. They need to make money somehow. And if it's by creating that feeling of inadequacy in people, they will do it because profits,
Of course.
So
Yeah.
it's then on an individual to decide how much of that you can expose yourself to. Okay. You simply can't blame, I feel like, oh, but these people are always posting their highlights. That's kind of just how it operates. Oh, these companies are always marketing. Companies have been marketing since the dawn of time, you know. It's how the society is. It's more difficult to change that than it is to change your level of exposure. And if you have some degree of self-awareness, you'll be able to realize, okay, this is not affecting me in a positive way. I maybe go on social media and Jane or Lucy or Savannah has a brand new Benz and I'm not driving a car. And at the end of the day, I'm like, why am I not driving a new Benz? If that's your thought process, every single time you expose yourself to someone who you deem successful, because success comes in different ways, in my opinion. It's not always material success. But most people, that's what they want in their lives. They want the money and the flashy cars and the attractive spouse and I don't know, all these things we think will make us happier. When
I know
they don't, by the way, they don't feel whatever hole is in your soul where you feel like if you have just one more thing, you'll be happy. You know, there's a lot of self-work that you need to do. And I feel like just a lot of myths you need to debunk if you want to get out of that materialism trap. Yeah.
Yeah. And to add on that, I think it's okay to unfollow people.
True.
If someone doesn't make you feel, if someone impacts on you negatively on social media, it's okay to unfollow. It's not rude. It's not what else, concited or no. It's okay to just unfollow the person. And I think people feel like they should look at some of these images. For example, if you have insecurity in terms of your body, and then you're following models, you're bound to feel some type of way. You're bound to feel you're not thin enough. Maybe you're not, your skin is not as flawless, things like those. If you continue doing that, then it will impact on your mental health. But me, I tell people, even me, for me, I unfollow any account that does not add to my mental well-being. Let me put it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You brought up an interesting topic and I was smiling a bit because there is a new body type that is fashionable these days. And gosh, I'm trying to see mentally where I can start with this. From my personal experience, I was raised to value like my intelligence more than how I look. So I think in a twisted way that kind of just has helped me throughout life. Although there was like really heavy emphasis on intelligence and, you can't eat tea, surgery. It was more about what you can do with your abilities, how to cultivate your abilities than it was about how you look. And I'm extremely grateful for that because I see how ever so like different generations, the body types change, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if body types change in Africa. I've always known that the African woman needs to be curvaceous. She needs to have a big bum and big hips. And I had never been like super curvaceous person. I've been like petite my whole life until God wills, a different body type. I've always been petite. And then there's always those things that your like your relatives or your family will say in like a nonchalant way about your weight or like your size. And I've always found it so weird because I don't comment on people's body size. I don't comment on people's appearance. I'm more likely to comment on your character and how you treat people than I am to comment your appearance. It's again just upbringing. I think the heavy emphasis on like your abilities and who you are as a person as opposed to how you look. So then it's the carelessness with your environment, like the people around you, also like breeds that comparison. You could probably not have ever thought there's anything wrong with you until, you know, 2 or 3 people are like, oh, you need to eat more, or you need to... I find that comment so hilarious because I eat probably more than you
The
who is
average
saying
person.
this. Yeah.
I know.
What do you want me to do, fam? Like, metabolism. Ask Jesus. Just ask Jesus. Me, but as for me, I don't know. You know, because and the same to this person. Yeah, this type. And also, you know, it's not just like and people don't actually believe skinny shaming is a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
skinny shaming is a real thing. The number of times I've had you should eat more or where does the food go, I find it's also these days my default answer is just ask Jesus. Like he knew what he was doing when he gave me this metabolism. He was, you know, he knew.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like people who gain weight easily or, you know, don't have like the Instagram body, which in my opinion doesn't really exist unless it's been modified by human beings. But yeah, things I feel like people can't change in like 10 minutes. Like there's no need to comment on because you don't know what that person's struggle is. But we wouldn't feel the need to compare each other if we learn to appreciate that we are just different and differences are a good thing. And I mean, if God felt that he would put us here on earth and we would be different, like who are we to question his wisdom?
Yeah.
He likes variety. We don't all have to fit in the same mold of what we should look like or how much we earn or what we drive or where we live. No. We're on different journeys, I believe. And there's a reason you're on the journey that you're on. There's no need to then make yourself feel small because you don't have what, I don't know, Joe or Jim down the street has. You don't know Joe or Jim's story. So
yeah. To add on that, also, don't rush the process. We all grow at different times. And if someone grew earlier than you, don't try and try to grow out of instant gratification. So, because it's a bad trap. Instant gratification is a bad, because you go to shortcut, you just it's a mess. What we have, jikubali too, and just grow at your own pace. And I also want to add on something else you mentioned. You said something to do with Instagram body modification.
Oh yeah, the Instagram body.
Hey, that body apparently, of course, it does not exist.
It doesn't exist.
But if you see most of them, okay, this is what I read. I hope I can explain it as well as I read it. But it shook me. It was like Instagram is trying to perpetuate a certain body type which does not exist. Now, this body type is they take many body parts from different kinds of women all over the world and bring it into like one person.
The ideal.
So the ideal. So you find like African lips, big and juicy. Maybe the white people's nose pointed. You find that maybe the sleek, shiny hair, or like all those characteristics. They've almost brought it to, because if you see the accounts that have the most
followers,
let me not say most, but zenye zina, what is the word? No. The ones that are pushed forward on your...
Oh, okay. By the algorithm.
exactly. There are photos of women who are almost perfect, if I may say. And young girls don't know that. They don't know.
That's honestly, they can't distinguish.
It's not possible to get this perfect image, this body. It is not possible. Kwanza, the African girl, just society, it's even much worse because she's told you're not pretty enough, you're not white,
you're too dark.
It's a mess.
Too dark.
Please,
you're too slender. Your hair is too kinky. Goodness gracious. Like the messages out here, I admire people parenting in this age and actively working on making sure in a way that their children's esteem is intact by the time they get to teenagehood, because the messages out here are astonishing. Why? I don't know what is this insatiable need to look the same. It baffles me, to be honest, because we don't have to look the same. We don't have to sound the same. We don't have to be at the same. It doesn't have to happen. And we will be just fine. Shocking, I know. But there is this almost obsession with having everyone be the same, which I've never understood. I'll probably die never understanding, because you learn so much from people who are different from you. You just do. From them sharing their experiences, you really, like, your eyes are open to so many things you probably wouldn't have experienced, So I feel like we're robbing ourselves of that by trying to make everyone look the same, do the same things, sound the same. I don't know. It's just, for me, I feel like we're robbing ourselves of the importance of just being diverse as people. And I for what purpose? Like, to what
purpose?
To what end? We all look the same. Do we get trophies? Like, does the world end? Like, what happens if we all look the same or sound the same? Or I don't understand. And then also, like, for guys and girls growing up in this generation, they then have a skewed, their sense of what is actually reality versus what is doctored. There's no distinction. They think doctored images are reality. And that is a big problem, because let's say, for instance, you're on Instagram, and let's even put the body conversation aside, because that's a whole video on its own. But assuming you go on this page and you see pictures of a dream destination, heavily filtered, and I mean heavy on the filter, then you get to this place and it doesn't look anything like what you saw. Can you imagine, after putting your hard-earned money to get to this place, and then you get there and it's like, oh my gosh, it looks nothing like the IG picture. Like, take that and apply to everything you see on IG. Most images are doctored. They're made to look like their best selves, whether it's people, products, destinations. That's the vibe on IG. And if you go in very gullible and very gullible, you will leave that platform thinking life really isn't what life is. And there's I just want to say, like, there's nothing wrong with normal. There's nothing wrong with normal images, normal bodies, normal accents, normal skin tones. There's nothing wrong with being petite or not being petite. Like, I don't know why or who convinced the world that there is a wrong way to look, sound, be, and there's a right way, It's the same way for a long time here. I don't know if it's still prevalent, but for a long time here, all the billboards would be like light-skinned ladies, for a very long time. And there's nothing wrong with being light-skinned, but there's so many different shades. or black.
Yeah.
That should all be celebrated. I think you're beautiful with your skin tone. I really do. And I feel like there should
Who?
be
Me?
more. Yeah,
Like,
you. Yeah, like you're.
ah,
I do
thank
feel
you.
because it's so, to me, even. Like it's just even.
Uh-huh.
Don't have this, I like to call it zebra effect that some of us have. But, and yet you're told, like, maybe you're too, I was seeing, like the KITT video where Lupita was saying she was told she's too dark for TV. I nearly collapsed because the
Imagine.
irony to then go win an Oscar. Oh my.
Imagine.
The humble pie that those people must have eaten. But you know what? Good for her. You know,
Yeah.
that's a type of, and Lupita is beautiful. Gosh, I find her
She
so
is.
beautiful. Yeah. I look at her and I
Yes.
think to me she's just beautiful. Like her face is
Yeah.
symmetrical and her skin tone is
Mhm.
so
It's
even.
even.
Yeah. And her she seems to have a very good personality as well, which is icing on the cake, you know. Actually,
Yeah.
I'd argue the beauty is icing on the cake, the personality is there, you know.
Oh, okay, nice.
But yeah, but for I I don't want to say worry, but I am concerned for kids growing up in this generation. Like
Mhm.
how do they cope? What are their esteem levels like? First, there's the heavy addiction of just devices in general. You know, a kid is
Yeah.
about like this size for 2 minutes and then they're 4 years old and you've stuck a phone in their hands and they're playing
Yeah.
Candy Crush or whatever. So for them to have
Mm.
that high dependency on social media, to get on there and be constantly comparing themselves, how do they cope? How do parents
Yeah.
cope? Because you and I were much older. You can make those distinctions for yourself, and
Mhm.
you can do what you need to do to make sure mentally you're okay. But then
Yeah.
kids, what do they do? You know,
No, I think it's up to the parents now. It's up to the
but
parents.
to a degree, because then they go to school and you know, like their
Yeah,
peers have phones or whatever.
of course.
Yeah,
It's
how
true.
then do you can't 100% control their exposure levels. I think you just have
Yeah.
to them and
Mhm.
and have those really hard conversations with them and find out what they're struggling with to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
I don't know if kids tell their parents everything. I know I didn't.
Yeah.
I kept my struggles to myself.
Yeah.
I did.
Mm.
But if you can get through to your kid, do your best because
Yeah.
yeah. I empathize.
Mm.
I really do. It's not easy growing up. I know it sounds very fast world, but I got concerned when I realized that the spikes of mental health issues. That's when I really got concerned. That's when
Yeah.
I realized, oh my gosh, this is actually affecting people negatively. And
And you know, I
really,
feel like mental health mostly it's this comparison trap.
it is.
It
It
it it
is.
plays such a huge part
Yeah,
because if
because
yeah,
mhm.
because if I'm at a certain age in my life and I feel I should have accomplished this, then
Mm,
I see someone at that particular age doing even much more. I'll
even
be like,
you
oh,
know,
what's wrong with me?
yeah, it makes you
What's
feel.
wrong with me?
I feel like it creates this sense of inadequacy that
It
probably
does.
you never had before. That's the danger. That's
Mm.
the danger of that highlight reel effect. Because I kid you not,
Yeah.
there's times when I've been on my phone like ta 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 ta, maybe looking for something on IG or just chilling. And then I
Yeah.
see this thing and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to have this. 10 minutes ago, I didn't know this thing existed. Okay. I didn't care for it. My life was not going to
Yeah.
end. But then
Mm.
maybe I see like an advertisement or an influencer like talking about a product and I'm like, well, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's it's
Yeah.
it's just dealing with I feel like the only solution is dealing with your level of exposure. I find that
Mm-hmm.
may be the only way to, because these guys are going to continue doing what they do until the end of time.
And it will get worse and worse. I
Was,
feel like
yeah.
at some point every wall will be a billboard walking.
Oh my gosh.
Every I don't even
Really, you
know.
think it will get that bad?
Yeah, kidogo hata wapendi kae with advertisements.
Oh
I feel
no.
it's getting worse and worse, or better for some people. I don't know.
Gosh. Will Jesus have come back by then? Because
Yeah, who knows?
I don't want to die from over advertising.
You can, by the
Yeah.
way.
If it's not your peers'
It's a lot.
accomplishments, it's products. If it's not products, it's where you
Yeah.
live. If it's not where you live, it's what you drive. If it's not what you drive, it's your
Yeah.
career. It's not your career, it's how much you're earning. Like none of these things contribute to your self-worth at all. You're still
Mm-mm.
a worthy
I
person.
think
Without all
that's
these
where we don't know. That's where we don't know where to distinguish. We distinguish self-worth with
we
material or
associate,
something
yeah.
tangible. Yeah,
You think
and
you are
it's
your bank account or your car or the place you live
exactly.
or whoever you're married to
Yeah.
or dating or where your children go to school or what you wear. Or
Yeah.
the irony is you may have all these things and still be horribly unhappy. And
Mhm.
yet it doesn't seem to get to people that that's not what happiness, that's not what makes you happy as an individual.
How do you change your mindset though? That's where we how do you just
You already know what
get
I'm gonna
happy?
say. One,